Anywhere on Earth this smoke appears, that place will turn into hell. Toxic smoke of unknown origin continuously emanates from the ground. Anyone who inhales it will within a few seconds. Since then it has spread. In the era of human destination, those who do not have survival skills will die because they will not be able to breathe in the toxic smoke. From the moment they were born, Paul's daughter did not have an immune system, so she only needed one child, small bacteria entering. The body also threatened Liza's, so the Pawn couple had to put her inside a glass cocoon to help her always be in a bacteria-free environment. 10 years have passed and Liza still lives inside a cocoon. Her only friend is a boy who also has the same disease as Liza and has to stay in a glass cage every day. The two of them can only talk to each other in passing. It's been decades since the phone call and the couple still hasn't found a cure for their daughter's illness. They've been everywhere in the world looking for the best doctor, but still to no avail. Today suddenly happened. Strange thing, for the first time in the history of this city, an earthquake occurred and the entire power supply was cut off. Luckily, Liza Cocoon had a backup battery. Seeing the chaos on the street, Pawn came down to check on the birds that had also walking but running away from something. Suddenly from under the manhole cover a cloud of smoke appeared. Anyone who inhaled it would die within a few seconds. Spread was also extremely terrible. It was like a storm, going to every corner of the city. Sensing danger, Pawn immediately ran home to his wife and children knowing that Liza would be safe because the smoke could not penetrate into the place where she was staying with her wife, Hannah's, who had left their daughter. He and his wife stayed behind, but he and his wife to a higher floor. The old man and his wife on the top floor let them into the house to take refuge. As expected, they were protected by that glass cage, so their daughter was unlucky and the smoke was not high. Arrived at where they were, but it had spread to the whole city. No one could see any moment down the street, and they didn't know what this smoke was. They didn't know when it would dissipate. Their phones couldn't be used. Many people had to climb up to the roof to escape the smoke. Pawn went to the stairs to check and discovered that as long as they don't inhale it, even if they touch it, it won't hurt. They're a backup battery now. Liza Cocoon was almost exhausted. They would have to replace her with a new battery, but to do that had to hold their breath for at least 4 minutes and that was impossible. But Pawn remembered right below the floor there was a sick old man who always had an oxygen tank, so Pawn decided to go down there to get the old man oxygen tank. He held his breath and climbed down from the sewer pipe and successfully broke the glass door to get inside the old man. That was also the end of life due to inhaling smoke. Luckily, his oxygen tank was still there. Thanks to it, Paul was able to breathe normally in the smoke. At this time, he heard an unexpected noise from the dogs next to him. He was able to inhale the smoke without being harmed. He went down to his daughter's place to give her some remaining food. After that, he changed the battery for the cocoon. He went down to the street to check. At this time, there was no longer a trace of anyone around, where there were only corpses under the smoke. This was no different from Doomsday. He took many batteries from the car to bring them back replace his daughter Cocoon. At this time, he met an army group evacuating people. When he arrived safely alive, they gave Pawn an oxygen tank with a more modern mask and he also successfully asked them for another tank to bring back to his wife. After that, he immediately returned to his wife's place and continuously monitored him. That smoke has since discovered that it is increasing at a speed of up to several centimeters per hour, so it will soon spread to where they are, so they can't be here. Now they will have to find a way to get a safe place, but first they still have to maintain energy for Liza Cocoon. The couple took turns going down to replace their daughter battery. At this time, they also discovered the safest place. There are riots going on, at the highest place in the city. All the living people have flocked there, leading to overcrowding, and that also the place where the couple want to go. To get there, they need a protective suit. The astronaut helmet will be what protects Liza's body from airborne bacteria, so the couple decided to go to a nearby laboratory together to get the protective clothing there to bring back. Liza, after knowing that her parents were going out, asked them to go to her friend's house to check because that friend also had the same problem. And his parents weren't home. They were afraid of the boy. Something happened, so the couple agreed to go there to check. But as soon as they got there, they encountered a crazy dog that had been starved for several days and chased the couple unexpectedly because they lost each other while looking away, looking for his wife. The cone unfortunately fell into the river and Hannah was still being chased by the dog. Fortunately, the chain trapped him. Pawn was able to swing to shore. The couple also found each other. They also found each other, successfully went to the research room and found the protective clothing they wanted, but before leaving, there was an explosion and Pawn's breathing tube was broken, so the couple had only they could breathe together with Hannah's oxygen tank and then quickly carry the protective suit to the top floor. From there they were able to temporarily escape the toxic smoke after treating her wound. The two of them would continue to share oxygen. They brought the protective suit home but checked and found that there wasn't much oxygen left. It wasn't enough for both of them to get home, so Pawn decided to stay and find a way home later, while Hannah alone would use the oxygen tank to bring the protective suit home. Even though she didn't want to, her daughter was at home so she had to agree. Sure enough, she found another way. which was to move on the roofs of building. At this time, Hannah's oxygen level was also low, was about to run out. By the time she got home, it was completely gone. Luckily, she successfully held her breath and reached a safe place, thinking that everything was resolved here, but the protective suit she tried to bring back was already there, burned after the explosion just now, so all effort were in vain on this side. Paul was still finding his way back to the roof of the building. He destroyed in front there were bags of thing along with a rope. He followed them. Leo climbed up and discovered there was a dead body. Looking at the traces on the floor, he knew that it was not death due to smoke inhalation. Once inside, he saw a pile of things along with an oxygen tank. He quickly rushed inside, took the oxygen tank to go home, but before he could leave, he was stopped by the owner of the pile of things. Maybe he was the murderer who killed Body. He just saw it and knew that he would most likely be the next victim. Paul put on a mask, hugged him, jumped under the smoke and prevented him from holding the gun because he didn't have a mask, so he died immediately after inhaling the toxic smoke. Now at home, the pod battery is about to run out. V needs to replace it before it runs out, but their oxygen is also gone and they don't have enough time to wait for the pod to come home, so Hannah will have to hold her breath to go down and replace her daughter battery. The backup battery had run out of energy. Fortunately, Hannah got down in time and successfully replaced the backup battery for the cocoon, thus saving her daughter's life. But the time Hannah held her breath was so long that when Pon got home, she saw it. She lay dead in the middle of the toxic smoke on the stairs, which made him extremely miserable and did not dare to inform his daughter about this. But he also understood that he could not keep it a secret forever, so after regaining his composure, he did so. Informing his daughter about this made extremely miserable. The smoke was about to reach their house. The earthquake kept happening, so the father and daughter would soon have to leave this place. He decided to intending to use the last bit of oxygen to find a protective jacket for his daughter. He also invited the old man and his wife to go with him to a safe place, but they refused because they were old and about to leave the world, so they didn't want to be a burden to Pon. Then, after saying the last words to their panther, the old man and his wife lay on the bed ready to accept death. They didn't feel any regret because at that moment, both grandparents still had each other, and at this moment, Pon used the last bit oxygen to find a protective suit for his daughter. He found an ambulance and from there found a protective suit. Inside, he immediately took it home to give to his daughter. On the way home, he found a motorbike and immediately used it to move quickly before running out of oxygen. But because of the reckless speeding and the thick smoke that obscure his vision. So when a boy suddenly rushed out of nowhere, Pon avoided it and fell. After that fall, he fainted. When he regained consciousness, he immediately called his daughter through the walkie-talkie, but never received any response. Suddenly, from afar, there was a silhouette of someone approaching. Unexpectedly, it was his daughter and her friend. What was that? The two of them, due to illness, were able to inhale toxic smoke without getting sick. When Pon woke up again, he was locked in his daughter cocoon. From then on, father and son switched roles. Pon would stay in the cocoon so he wouldn't inhale the toxic smoke, while his daughter would be the one who could breathe in the smoke, be the one looking for food. Today movie is over. Hello and see you again in the next movie. Bye bye.